नमस्सर्वेभ्यः। अद्य तिङन्तप्रक्रियायाम् 48 पाठः। अक्टोबर् मासस्य 4 दिनाङ्कः। येनाक्षरसमाम्नायमधिगम्य महेश्वरात् कृत्सम्याकरणं प्रोक्तं तस्मै पाणिनये नमः। वाक्यकारं वररुचिं भाष्यकारं पतञ्जलिं पाणिनिं सूत्रकारं च प्रणतोऽस्मि मुनित्रयम्। अद्य जुहोत्यादिगणस्य प्रारम्भं कुर्मः। ततः पूर्वं किञ्चित् पुनरावर्तनं रुधादिगणस्य मुख्यांशानाम्। अयं सप्तमः गणः। तत्र रुदादिभ्यः श्नम् इत्यनेन श्नम् विकरणः विधीयते। मित्वसामर्थ्याद् अन्त्यादचः परः एषः श्नम्। श्नमि कृते श्नान्नलोपः इत्यनेन धातौ पूर्वं विद्यमानस्य नकारस्य लोपः दृश्यते। यथा इन्ध् नकारः धात्ववयवः। इनन्ध् श्नमि कृते इनन्ध् श्नमः परस्य नकारस्य लोपे इनध् इत्यादि भवति। श्नमि कृते सर्वाण्यङ्गानि झलन्तानि भवन्ति। अङ्गकार्यं गणे एकमेव भवति। किङिति सार्वधातुके श्नसोरल्लोपः इत्यनेन श्नमः अकारस्य लोपः। अतः सर्वेषां धातूनाम् अङ्गद्वयं पित्सु प्रत्ययेषु रुनध् अपित्सु प्रत्ययेषु रुन्ध् एवं भिनद् भिन्द् छिनद् छिन्द् कृणत् कृन्त् इत्यादि। अल्लोपे कृते णत्वं न भवति निमित्ते सत्यपि नकारस्य असिद्धत्वात्। अनुस्वारे परसवर्णे च कृते उत्पद्यमानः नकारः असिद्धः, अतः णत्वं न भवति। प्रत्ययसम्बन्धीनि कार्याणि अधिकानि न सन्ति रुधादिगणे। कार्यद्वयमेव। हल्ज्ञाभ्यो दीर्घात् सुतिस्य पृक्तं हल् इत्यनेन हलन्तात् परस्य ति सि इत्येतयोः अपृक्तप्रत्यययोः लोपः। अपृक्तः एकाल् प्रत्ययः। अतः लङ्लकारे इतश्च इत्यनेन तिप्सिपोः इकारस्य लोपे कृते त् स् इति अपृक्तप्रत्ययौ। हलन्तात् परयोः तयोः लोपः विधीयते। हुझल्भ्यो हेर्धिः इत्यनेन हि इत्यस्य स्थाने धि इत्यादेशः झलन्तात् परस्य। सर्वाण्यङ्गानि झलन्तानि, अतः सर्वत्र हि इत्यस्य स्थाने धि इत्यादेशः भवति। So the most important part of Rudhadigana going forward is the Sandhi Karya. Whatever we have studied a number of Hal Sandhis. All of them are general Karyas, that is not specific to Rudhadigana. Okay? So anywhere we have these, we will need to apply this, and therefore, especially for the Juhotyadigana and the Adadigana, remembering these Sandhis is very important. So today I am not going into the Prakriya of the Dhatus of Rudhadigana. I think we have spent enough time on those. There were a few questions from exercise left, which I'll put up the solutions. If you have any specific questions, you can ask, or doubts. But otherwise, I'd rather concentrate only on the general sutras that we have studied. Please make sure you remember these and can apply these as we go forth. Hal Sandhayaha Tatra Samanyataha Jashtvam Jhalam Jashonte Sarvatra Padante Jhalam Jashah Syuh. Utsargikam Sutram. It is one of the most general sutras in this set. Jhalam Jashonte Padante Vidyamanasya Jhalvarnasya Jash Adeshah Bhavati. Jhalam Jash Jhashi Dvitiyam Jashtvam Apadante झषि परे अर्थात तृतीय चतुर्थवर्णयोः परयोः तृतीयवर्णः आदेशः भवति। सूत्रद्वयं जष्ट्वविधायकं, सूत्रद्वयं चर्त्वविधायकं। खरि च खरि परे झलां चरः स्युः। खर् खप छठथ चटत कप शश तेषु परेषु प्रथमवर्णः आदेशः भवति। चर्त्वसन्धौ खरिच इति सूत्रम्। वावसाने अवसाने विरामोऽवसानं वर्णानाम् अभावः अवसानसंज्ञकः भवति तत्र विकल्पेन चर्त्वं भवति अतः सर्वत्र अभवत् अभवद् अथवा अच्छिनद् अच्छिनत् सर्वत्र तकारस्य स्थाने विकल्पेन दकारादेशः दकारस्य स्थाने विकल्पेन तकारादेशः भवति ष्टुनाष्टुः इत्यनेन ष्टुत्वं षकार टवर्गैः योगे सकार तवर्गयोः षकार टवर्गौ स्तः so s is replaced by sh t by t and so on झरोझरि सवर्णे इति पाक्षिकः लोपः हलः परस्य झरः लोपः वा स्यात् सवर्णे झरि इति so these were the 6 common sutras and then चोः कुः पदान्ते चवर्गस्य कवर्गादेशः यथा अयुनज् इति स्थिते अयुनग् जकारस्य स्थाने गकारः अविनच् इति स्थिते अविनक् चकारस्य स्थाने ककारः पदान्ते chavargasya sthane kavargadeshah so you will never hear a chavarga letter at the end of a pada it will always get converted to kavarga झषस्तथोर्धोधः झषः परयोः तकारथकारयोः धकारादेशः भवति so it is not only in ting pratyayas you see it very often in the kta pratyaya also so you have labh dhatu kta pratyayah यथा गतः पठितः इत्यादि तथा लभ त भकारः झष्वर्णः तस्मात् परस्य तकारस्य स्थाने धकारः अतः लभ ध झलां झष् झषि इत्यनेन भकारस्य बकारे लब्ध लब्ध लुब्ध इत्यादिषु सर्वत्र idam karyam bhavati so it is not dependent on prakriti or pratyaya it is a simple letter change that is a sandhi झषः परयोः तकारथकारयोः धकारादेशः भवति ससचुषोरुः पदान्ते सकारः अस्ति चेत् तस्य स्थाने ऋत्वं भवति जष्ट्वापवादः so it is an अपवादा to झलां झषोन्ते तस्य अपवादाः सन्ति तिप्यनस्तेः तिपि परे so this is specific to tip pratyaya but तिपि परे अथवा तिप् प्रत्ययस्य विषये पदान्ते यः सकारः तस्य स्थाने दकारः आदेशः भवति अतः अहिनस् त् तिपः हल्याभ्यो दीर्घात्सुतस्य पृक्तं हलेतेन लोपे अहिनस् इदानीम् अत्र सकारस्य स्थाने दकारादेशः अतः अहिनद् वावसाने इत्यनेन वैकल्पिकचत्वे अहिनद् अहिनत् इति रूपद्वयं सर्वेषां सकारान्तानां धातूनां भवति अचकात् अचकाद् अशात् अशाद् शास् इति धातोः भवति चकास् धातोः भवति अनस्तेः अस् धातोस्तु न भवति अस् धातुं वर्जयित्वा सर्वेषां सकारान्तानां धातूनां विषये इदं सूत्रं स्मर्तव्यम् सिपि धातोरुर्वा इत्यनेन सिपि परे विकल्पेन ऋत्वं भवति दकारः ऋत्वं भवति चेत् विसर्गः अतः अहिनः ऋत्वस्य अभावे जष्ट्वेन दकारः अहिनद् तत्र विकल्पेन चर्त्वम् अहिनत् अतः रूपत्रयं सिपि अहिनत् अहिनः अहिनत् अहिनद् इति एवं सर्वेषां सकारान्तानां धातूनां तिपि रूपद्वयं सिपि रूपत्रयम् अचकाः अचकात् अचकाद् अशाः अशात् अशाद् इत्यादि सर्वेषां भवति दश्च दकारान्तस्य धातोः सिपि परे विकल्पेन ऋत्वं भवति अतः भिद् इति धातुः तस्यापि सिपि परे विकल्पेन ऋत्वम् अभिनः अभिनत् अभिनद् इति रूपत्रयम् एतत्तु विशिष्य तिप् सिपोः विषये षढोः कस्सि षकार ढकारयोः सकारे परे ककारादेशः भवति so again this is a very common karya which we see in many cases पिनष् सि षकारस्य स्थाने ककारादेशे पिनक्षि एवं लिह् सि होढः इत्यनेन ढत्वे लिढ् सि ढकारस्य सकारादेशे लिक् सि लेक्षि इति भवति। धी च सकारस्य धकारे परे लोपः. So shas dhi shadhi, or sorry, that is a different sutra. So here we have the hinas him his dhi or hins dhi tatra sakarasya lope hindi iti bhavati. So sarvatra dhakare pare sakarasya lopah bhavati. Hodhah padante jhali padante hakarasya dhakaradeshah. So jhali padante chavargasya kavargadeshah hakarasya dhakaradeshah. So I think chohkuhu is 8 to 30. Hodhaha is 31. I mean, I have given the same number, but chohkuhu is 30. Jhalam jashonte chohkuhu hodhaha. So that or 31, 32, one of those two. Okay. So dhodhe lopaha. Dhakarasya dhakare pare lopaha. So wherever dhakara is followed by another dhakara, the first dhakara is deleted. So these are the common sandhis that we studied, which will be applicable again and again in the Juhotyadi and the Adadi Gana. So, I mean, once we keep working with it, they become pretty familiar. Adya Juhotyadi Ganam Pashyamaha Dhatu Pathe Tritiyaha Ganaha Asmabhihi Adhiyamane Krame Ayam Navamaha Ganaha Upantimaha Ganaha. The penultimate Gana in the order that we are studying, the Juhotyadi Gana, Hu Danadanayohu iti dhatorarabhya, Ga Stutau iti dhatu paryantam, Chaturvimshatihi dhatavaha asmin gane antarbhavanti. So there are 24 dhatus. So the most important thing we remember when we think of Juhotyadi Gana is Dvitva. Okay, that is how we identify the Juhotyadi Gana. Ataha asmin varge dvitvasya vishaye pashyamaha. So we will study mostly the dvitva, the basics of dvitva and how to do it. Okay, so the concept of dvitva is very useful, not just here. So for the Juhotyadi Gana, it is useful, but for all ganas, we use dvitva for litlakara. Litlakare sarvesham dhatunam dvitvam bhavati. Punaha sannante, yangante, क्वचिन् निजन्ते द्वित्वस्य आवश्यकता भवति. अतः द्वित्व विधिः. So the dvitva in all these cases is not different. The sutra for dvitva might be different, but the karyas which depend on dvitva are still the same. Ataha dvitva vidhi is one of the most important vidhis that we can study. Okay, so we use it very often, and it will be applicable for almost all dhatus. Juhotyadiganasya vikaranaha kartari shap ityanena utsargikaha shap. So there is no other vikarana which has been given for Juhotyadi. Ataha samanyataha shap vikaranaha eva bhavati. Atra visheshaha Juhotyadibhyaha shluhu iti sutram. Juhotyadibhyaha iti panchami bahuvachanam. Shluhu iti prathamaikavachanam. Shapaha iti anuvartate. अधिप्रभृतिभ्यः शपः इति पूर्वतनसूत्रं ततः शपः इति अनुवर्तते. जुहोत्यादिभ्यः परस्य शपः श्लुः स्यात्. श्लुः इत्यनेन किमुच्यते? लोपः. अदर्शनं लोपः प्रत्ययस्य लुक् श्लु लुपः. प्रत्ययस्य लोपः लुक् श्लु लुप् एतैः शब्दैः विधीयते. अतः शपः लोपः भवति इत्यर्थः. हु धातुः तिप्रत्ययः कर्तरि शप् इत्यनेन शप् विधीयते. जुहोत्यादिभ्यः श्लुः इत्यनेन श्लौ हु ति. सो प्रत्ययस्य लुक् श्लु लुपः. प्रत्ययलोपः एतैः शब्दैः विधीयते. सो प्रत्ययलोपे प्रत्ययलक्षणम्. सो सामान्यतः यत्र प्रत्ययः लुप्यते तदा प्रत्ययलक्षणं भवति. अर्थात् प्रत्ययम् आश्रित्य कार्यं क्रियते, किन्तु न लुमता अङ्गस्य. लुमता लुप्ते लुक् श्लु लुप् इत्येतेषां लुमन्तः इति नाम. लु एषाम् अस्ति इति लुमन्तः. So they have in common the factor lu. लुक् इत्यत्र लु, श्लु इत्यत्र लु, लुप् इत्यत्र लु. अतः एते लुमन्तः. Like we have say बुद्धिमान् एवं लुमान्. बुद्धिः अस्य अस्ति इति बुद्धिमान्, लुः अस्य अस्ति इति लुमान्. सो लुमत् इत्यनेन लुक् श्लु लुप् इत्येतेषां ग्रहणं. लुमता लुप्ते अर्थात् यत्र एतैः शब्दैः लोपः विधीयते, लुक् श्लु लुप् इत्येतैः शब्दैः यदा लोपः विधीयते तदा तत् प्रत्ययम् आश्रित्य अङ्गकार्यं न भवति. So we do not do an angakarya depending on a pratyaya which has been deleted by luk, shlu or lup. If it is deleted by the common lopa, then we still do karyas depending on it. Yatra lumata pratyaya lupyate tatra tadashritya angakaryam na bhavati. For example, shap. Shap generally it governs guna. Okay, shapi gunaha prapnoti. Kintu shapi lupte, shluna shapi lupte. When shap has been deleted by shlu, you will not apply guna using pratyaya lakshana. Even though it is true that generally pratyaya lope pratyaya lakshanam, lumata lupte angakaryam na bhavati. Guna is an angakarya, so you cannot perform guna depending on shap which has been deleted. So juhotyadibhya shluhu ityanena shluhu विधीयते इत्युक्ते लोपः विधीयते. श्लु प्रत्यये परे मुख्यं कार्यमस्ति श्लौ इत्यनेन द्वित्वम्. But before we go into द्वित्वा, we need to have a general understanding of द्वित्वा. Okay. So if we look at the Sutra Patha, Dvitva Prakarana is right at the beginning of the 6.1, Shashtadhyaya. Okay. So as you can see here, this whole thing is the Dvitva Prakaranam. So there are 12 sutras which are concerned with Dvitva. So the first 5, okay, so you have Ekacho Dve Prathamasya Ajader Dvitiyasya iti Adhikaradvayam, Nandra Sanyogadayah iti Nishedhaha, Purvobhyasaha Ubhe Abhyastam iti Samnya, Jakshityadaya Shat Jujadinam Dirghobhyasasya. So this is also related to the Abhyasta Samya. So these 7 are just a preface to Dvitva. It doesn't define Dvitva at all. It's just general adhikara and terms related to Dvitva. So we get Dvitva in these 4 cases mainly. Liti dhatoho. Litlakare sarvesham dhatunam dvitvam bhavati. San yangoho. San pratyaye pare, yang pratyaye pare dvitvam bhavati. Shlau. So the Juhotyadigana, when you have shlu, there is dvitva. Changi. Chang is a pratyaya which we see in lung lakara. Lung lakare, keshan, it's the vikarana for lung lakara. So tasmin pratyaye pare dvitvam bhavati. So dashvan, sahvan, medvan, it's a nipatana. So specific nipatana of ready-made forms. Okay. So basically there are 4 cases where generally we have dvitva. Litlakara, san and yang pratyayas, the shlu, that is the Juhotyadigana where the vikarana is deleted, and chang. Okay. So tatra prashnaha yang pratyayah iti kaha iti. So sanadyanta dhatavah ityatra dvadasha pratyayah santi. You have the san, nich, kyach, kamyach, etc. So yang is one of those 12 pratyayas. So yang is not commonly used in I mean, we are not familiar with it, but we are familiar with a few forms of yang. Definitely everybody will be say momudyate, narindratyate. So momudyate me chetah, it's one very popular. Atishayena modate ityartha. So yang is a pratyaya which is added to all dhatus in the sense of uh, paunah punya or atishaya, that is repetitive or excessive. So momudyate means it's very happy, or again it delights again and again. So tasmin arthe yang pratyayah vidhiyate dhatoh. Sarvesham dhatunam bhavati bobhuyate, rarajyate, etc. So some of those forms we hear, I mean, especially if you are used to hearing Sanskrita bhashanams, you will, I mean, where they are giving lectures. So you keep hearing some of those forms, okay, which are used. Unfortunately, it's, I mean, especially the sanadis, they're very expressive pratyayas. So putra kamyati or putriyati, and these momudyate, etc. So there are very expressive pratyayas. They, I mean, with just one word, it expresses so much of emotion. It is rather unfortunate that, I mean, we are not using them more. Okay, there are several, I mean, they add beauty to the language, but the forms are, at least at first sight, they look complicated. I'd say at first sight, because I mean, Pushpa Dikshit is another very, she keeps saying that they are very easy, let's use them. So she has, I mean, there is that set, I mean, easily to understand the prakriya of these. So she teaches them with emphasis, saying that we have to learn using them. It will add more variety and much more beauty to the language to use these pratyayas, especially the Sanadi set. They are very nice pratyayas. Let us see. Anyway, so coming back. So these four are actually the Dvitva Vidhayaka Sutras. Litidhatoranabhyasasya, Sanyangohu, Shlau and Changi. So before that, we have to understand these five, the first five, which preface the Dvitva Prakaranam. So tatra pashyamaha Dvitva Prakarane Prathamam Sutram asti Ekacho Dve Prathamasya. Ekachaha iti Shashthe Kavachanam, Dve iti Prathama Dvivachanam, Prathamasya iti Shashti Ekavachanam. Adhikara Sutram. So it is an adhikara which governs all Dvitva. Okay, yatra yatra Dvitvam bhavati, tatra Prathamasya Ekachaha Dvestaha. So the first ekach is doubled. So whenever you say you are doubling a dhatu, it need not be the whole dhatu. I mean, if it's a plain dhatu, it generally happens to be the whole. But the thing is, prathamasya ekachaha dve. Dvitva is always for the first ekach. Oh shit, why did I put this as 618? This is 611, the first sutra. So let's okay. So ita urdhvam adhikara sutram kiyat paryantam adhikaraha ita urdhvam prak samprasarana vidhanat. So as we saw in the Ashtadhyayi, so Shangas Samprasaranam iti Trayodashi Sutre Samprasarana Prakaranam Arabhyate. So Tat Paryantam Dvitva Prakaranam. Ataha Ita Urdhvam Prak Samprasarana Vidhanat Yaduchyate Arthat Dvitva Prakarane Tatra Prathamasya Ekachaha Dve Bhavataha iti Veditavyam. So it will not be specified which part of the dhatu should be specified, should be doubled. It is always for the first ekach. Okay, so atra dvirvachanam dvihi prayogaha. Okay, so dvirvachanam is just you use it twice. Okay, you repeat the part. The first ekach is repeated twice. That is what we call dvitva. कः अर्थः एकाच् इत्यनेन किमुच्यते एकः अच् यस्य सः समुदायः So ekach iti bahuvrihi samasah. Ekah ach yasya sah. That which possesses a single ach. So that group of letters which possesses a single ach is called ekach. Say for example, there is pach. Okay, pach iti dhatuhu dvitvam karaniyam. So in pach there are actually three ekats. Pa iti ekach. Pakarah asti akarah. Akarah ekah ach yasya saha. Pa iti samudayah ekach. There is ach. So leave the pa, you have ach. Okay. So this is again an ekach samudaya. So you take the whole thing pach. This is also an ekach samudaya. Right? I mean there is only one ach in this. So which do we take is the normal thing. Iti trayah ekachah atra savayavasya samudayasya. So this pach includes both pa and ach. Pa is an avayava of pach and ach is also an avayava of pach. So the siddhanta, there is quite some vichara which has been which has been done regarding the Dvitva Prakarana. So I'm just summarizing the siddhanta so we know how to apply it practically. So savayavasya samudayasya pach ityasya iva dvitvam. So wherever we have a dhatu which contains a single ach, we double the entire dhatu, that is all consonants along with that one ach. So if wherever we are applying dvitva, if that particle contains a single ach, okay, if it contains a single ach, we double the entire thing. I mean whatever the number of consonants, we simply double it whole as a whole. Okay. So savayavasya samudayasya dvitvam. Ataha pach ityasya dvitve pach pach iti bhavati. Okay. So now jagr ityasti. Now jagr has two ach. Ja ityatra akarah ekah ach. Gr ityatra rikarah ekah ach. Idanim prathamasya ekachah dvitvam. So dvitva is for the first ekach, which is ja. So it is not only for the ach, it is for the consonant which is associated along with the ach. Ataha jagr ityasya dvitve ja ityasya dvih prayogah bhavati. Ataha ja jagr. So you repeat the part ja. Ekacho dve prathamasya. Prathamasya ekachah dve bhavatah. Yadi ekah eva ach asti samudaye tarhi तस्य अचः सर्वेषां हलां च द्वित्वं भवति. यदि अच् द्वयमस्ति तर्हि प्रथमस्य एकाचः, the first syllable, that is the first ach along with the consonant which is associated with that ach, we double. केवलः ach, if there is only ach, what do we do? व्यपदेशिवद्भावेन एकाच्त्वात्. Now we said ekach is ekah ach yasya saha bahuvrihi, that which possesses a single ach. So if there is a single ach, that itself is ekach. We call vyapadeshivad ekasmin is a common paribhasha. Say if the somewhere there is a say akarantasya dirghah bhavati. Okay, akarantasya dirghah bhavati. So kevalasya akarasya bhavati va nava iti ched kevalasya akarasyapi bhavati. Okay. So that is what we refer to by vyapadeshivad bhava. So here even if we say ekachah, it is a samudaya which possesses a single ach. Even a single ach qualifies as ekach. Ataha I ityasya iva dvitve I iti bhavati. Okay. So now there is one question which, well, I was hoping somebody would not raise, but yes, it is raised. So jagr, when you say ekach, the akara, which consonant do we take? Do we take the consonant which comes before it or after it? Okay. So as we know, in pach, we took both pa and ch, both consonants before and after. Okay. So when there are two ach, okay, so there are two ways which should remember that it finally does not make a difference to the final prakriya, but still during prakriya there are two ways, two traditions of doing it. Okay, so one is, if say jagr, you take only, if there are two ach, so you take only the one which comes before the first ach for the first, and whatever comes before the second ach for the second. Okay, so that is what is one tradition. In another tradition, so one ekach will include both the consonants which come before and the consonants which come after till we meet the next ach. Okay, so that is another tradition. So there they would, if say jagra ityasya dvitve, jag ityasya dvitvam bhavati. Okay, so till we meet the next ach, whatever comes is taken as the part of this ach. Okay, so that is one tradition. Whereas there is also the tradition where, if you look at the books, many of the books, my tradition says yes, it is till the next ach. That is how I was taught. So you know, you take it till the next ach, till it starts, so you take it and you double the whole thing. Okay, so that's how I was also taught. But uh, I looked at so many books that I mean, there are so many people who take only this, that is, they take only the one which comes before it. Okay, so either way we have another sutra which deletes that additional consonant, which is correct. But I mean, there is some, you know, difference in principle about what constitutes the ekach. So anyway, so this is ekacho dve prathamasya. We have the dvitiya sutram asti ajadehe dvitiyasya. So ajadehe iti shashthi ekavachanam, dvitiyasya iti द्वितीयस्य इत्यपि षष्ठी एकवचनम् एतत् अधिकार sutram. So this is also the second adhikara which goes along with ekacho dve prathamasya. So if now we are talking about ekach, if the see, there are three options. One is there is only a single ach in the particle. So if there is a single ach in the particle, we double the entire thing, whatever is there. So if it is a single ach, we double it. If it is only one ach and one consonant, we double it. One ach and two consonants, we double the whole thing. One ach and three consonants, we double the whole thing. So if there is a single ach, there is no problem at all. We double it fully. If the particle that we are doubling contains more than one ach, then it is either haladi or ajadi. This sutra says, if it is ajadi, ajadehe anekachaha samudayasya. If there is a samudaya which is ajadi and also anekach, then dvitiyasya ekachaha dvitvam bhavati. Then instead of the first ekach, we double the second ekach. Okay, the second syllable. यथा अटि इति धातुः निजन्तः. So अटि इति निजन्तः धातुः, अट् इति मूलधातुः, अटि इति निजन्तः धातुः. So you have अटि. So when we need to double this dhatu, so a iti ekah ach, I iti अपरः ach. Okay. So ati ityasya dvitve kartavye dvitiyasya ekachah. Instead of doubling at, we double t. So it becomes a t t. T ityasya dvitvam bhavati. Dvitiyasya ekachah dvitvam. Evam ikshi ityasya dvitve I kshi kshi. So now kshi is the second ekach. So we are doubling the second ekach. So I kshi kshi. So yatra anekach samudayaha ajadihi tatra dvitiyasya ekachah dvitvam bhavati. Yatra anekach samudayaha haladihi tatra prathamasya ekachah eva dvitvam. Okay. So three cases. First thing ekach, we double it fully. If it is anekach and haladi, we double the first ekach. If it is anekach and ajadi, we double the second ekach. So these two adhikaras, ekacho dve prathamasya and ajader dvitiyasya, they govern the entire dvitva prakarana. Okay. So tritiyam sutram asti. अत्र एकः प्रश्नः. How about at? एकः, then we double at. We double at. So if there is
ajadi,
no, that is ajade dvitiyasya applies. The dvitiyasya itself implies that there is a second ach. So ajade dvitiyasya applies only if there is a second ach. If there is no second ach, it is the first one which is doubled. I mean, there are different ways how that is supported. We say vyapadeshivat bhava. That itself is first, that itself is second, and we double it.
That's what
that is also there, and there is also the cases where they argue that ajadaya dvitiyasya applies only if there is a dvitiya ach. So otherwise it is prathama. So if there is at, we apply, we double it fully. Okay. So next, dvitva prakarane tritiyam sutram asti nandraha sanyogadayah. Na ndraha प्रथमा बहुवचनं, संयोगादयः इत्यपि प्रथमा बहुवचनं, द्वितीयस्य इति अनुवर्तते, एकाचः इत्यपि अनुवर्तते. So this refers to ajader dvitiyasya. When we are applying ajader dvitiyasya, that is for an ajadi samudaya, we are doubling the second ekach. If there is na, the, ra, nakara, dakara, repha at the beginning of a sanyoga, it is not doubled. Dvitiyasya ekachaha avayavabhutaha sanyogadayah nakara, dakara, rephaha dve na bhavanti. So this is again a general sutra. For example, there is undi iti asti. Undi iti ajadihi dvyach. There are two ach. So we have to double the dvitiya ekach. So undi. So we should double actually undi ityasya dvitvam karaniyam. Kintu sanyogadihi nakaraha dvihi na bhavati. So instead we say undi di. We double only the di and we don't double the nakara. Similarly, adid I iti dhatuh. Tatra sanyogadihi dakaraha tasya dvitvam na bhavati. Addi di. केवलं डि इत्यस्य द्वित्वम्. अर्चि इति धातुः, तत्र रेफः संयोगादौ अस्ति, तस्य द्वित्वं न भवति, अर्चि चि इति भवति. अतः नन्द्रा संयोगादयः. संयोगादयः नदराः, नकार दकार रेफाः द्वे न भवतः. So they will not be doubled. So this is only in case of ajader dvitiyasya. If it is an ekach, so even if there is a repha at, na, the, ra at the beginning of sanyoga, they will be doubled. So there are a couple of dhatus. I don't remember now, but it will still be doubled in case of ekach. Okay. So nandra sanyogadayah iti tritiyam sutram. Ekacho dve prathamasya ajadaya dvitiyasya nandra sanyogadayah. So these three sutras lay out the general rules for dvitva. Wherever we have dvitva, these three rules apply. Idanim samnya dvayam smartavyam dvitvasya vishaye. Purvobhyasah iti prathamam chaturtham sutram. Atra purvaha abhyasah. अस्मिन् प्रकरणे ये द्वे विहिते. सो यत्र द्वित्वं विधीयते तयोः पूर्वः अवयवः अभ्याससंज्ञः भवति. So the first of those, there are two. So the first part is called abhyasa. Okay. Say pach ityasya dvitve pach pach a. Tatra prathamasya pach ityasya abhyasasanya. So jagr ja jagriti. तत्र प्रथमस्य जा इत्यस्य अभ्यास संज्ञा. सो पूर्वोऽभ्यासः द्वित्वे कृते पूर्वः अवयवः अभ्यास संज्ञः भवति. उभे अभ्यस्तम् इति पंचमं सूत्रम् उभे प्रथम द्विवचनम् अभ्यस्तम् इति प्रथम एकवचनम् अस्मिन् प्रकरणे ये द्वे विहिते ते उभे अपि समुदिते अभ्यस्तसंज्ञे भवतः. So the both parts together they are called abhyasta. Okay. Say pach ityasya dvitve pach pach iti samudayasya abhyasta samnya. Jagr ityasya dvitve ja jagr ityasya samudayasya abhyasta samnya. It is not only ja ja, it is ja jagr because dvitva is for the dhatu. So even though you are doubling the first ekaj of the dhatu, dvitva is for the dhatu. So the whole thing is called abhyasta. Okay. Purvobhyasaha ubhe abhyastam. So abhyasa for the first part and abhyasta for everything together. These are two samnyas. So there will be other karyas which depend on the samnya. Okay. So clear with these 5? Any questions?
Samiji, did you say that there were some that don't apply to this third sutra where actually they do get
No. I didn't say that. I said that the Nandra Sanyogadaya applies only for the case of Ajader Dvitiyasya. That is, there is an Ajadi Dhatu and we are doubling the second syllable. So there, if it is in the Sanyogadi, then it is not deleted. What I said was, if there is a plain Dhatu which begins with, say, a Sanyoga starting with Nakara, right. An example, it will still be doubled even though it is a sanyogadi. There is a dhatu. I don't remember. I read up some example, so I'm sorry. I'll look it up and tell. So if there's a plain dhatu at the beginning of which it is an ekaj and the beginning there is a sanyogadi nakara, so the nakara would still be doubled. Okay. So Nandra Sanyogadaya is a nishedha only for Ajader Dvitiyasya and not for Ekachodve Prathamasya. So I'll clarify it with an example sometime later. Okay. Any other questions? So idanim shlau. So if you look at the Ashtadhyayi, so Ekacho Dve Prathamasya Ajader Dvitiyasya Nandra Sanyogadayah Purvobhyasaha Ubhe Abhyastam. So Jakshityadaya Shat and Tujadinam Dirghobhyasas. Jakshityadaya Shat again gives an Abhyasta Samya. Okay, so it was there. So Tujadinam Dirgha Abhyasasya. So there is a Dirgha for the Abhyasa along with the Dvitva. So that is there. So Liti Dhator Anabhyasasya. That is the first Dvitva Vidhayaka Sutra. Litlakare, Litipare, Dhatoho Dve Staha. So the Dhatu is doubled when followed by Litlakara. Anabhyasasya. So as long as there is not already an Abhyasa. See, once you perform Dvitva once, so can you keep doubling it again and again? No, because the Sutra clearly says Anabhyasasya, that earlier Dvitva has not occurred. So as long as there is no Abhyasa, you can double the Dhatu when followed by Lit. So it prevents reapplication of Dvitva. And there are other purposes also. So Sanyangoho, Sanantasya, Yangantasya cha Dvitvam bhavati, Shlau. So this is a sutra we have now. Shlau iti asmin pade dashamam sutram. Saptami ekavachanam. Dhatoho iti anuvartate. Anabhyasasya ityapि anuvartate. Ekacho dve prathamasya ajader dvitiyasya iti adhikaradvayam. Shlau parataha, when followed by shlau, that is when there has been shlau vishaye. Anabhyasasya dhator avayavasya. So a dhatvavayava which is not an abhyasa. that is which is not already been doubled. So avayavasya prathamasya ekachah dve bhavatah. So the first ekach is doubled, or ajader dvitiyasya va. So if there is anekach, dvitiyasya अजादेः अनेकाचः द्वितीयस्य एकाचः द्वे भवतः यथा योगम, depending on the circumstance. So if it has a single ach, then the first ekach is doubled. If it is haladi, the first ekach is doubled. If it is ajadi and anekach, the second ekach is doubled. That is why those two are given as adhikaras. So shlau paratah dvitvam bhavati. So when followed by shlau, there is dvitva, applying all the rules which apply generally to dvitva. Okay, so which one to double, you have to decide based on ekacho dve prathamasya, ajadaya dvitiyasya and nandra sanyogadayah. Hu iti prathamah dhatuh gane, hu ti. तिप्रत्यये परे कर्तरि शप् इत्यनेन शप् विधीयते, जुहोत्यादिभ्यः श्लुः इत्यनेन लुप्यते. इदानीं श्लौ इत्यनेन द्वित्वं हु हु ति. सो एकाच् अस्ति, अतः तस्य एकाचः द्वित्वे हु हु ति. एवं मा इति धातुः मा ति मा मा ति इति भवति. Okay. So shlau is the sutra which gives dvitva for dhatus of the juhotyadi gana. So now we have dvitva, we know what to double. So once we have doubled it, there is a set of karyas which is called the abhyasa karyani. What happens in the abhyasa, in the first part of the doubled syllable? So there are many changes which happen for an abhyasa. So if you move down to the end of the Angadhikara, which is 7-4, the last part of 7-4, you can see here atra lopo abhyasasya ityarabhya padasya antaparyantam abhyasa karyani. What happens to the first part of the doubled one? So what happens to the abhyasa? पूर्वोऽभ्यासः इत्यनेन अभ्याससंज्ञा विहिता अभ्यासस्य कानि कार्याणि भवन्ति. So here you can see. So first you have the सामान्य अभ्यासकार्याणि, लिटि विशिष्य कानि अभ्यासकार्याणि, श्लौ विशिष्य अभ्यासकार्याणि, सनि अभ्यासकार्याणि, यङि यङ्लुकि अभ्यासकार्याणि, चङि अभ्यासकार्याणि. So as we saw, these are the 5 cases where there is dvitva. So liti, sanyangohu, shlau, changi. Okay. So there are some abhyasa karyas which apply in general, and there are specific karyas for each of these. Okay. So idanim अस्माकं प्रत्यर्थं सामान्य अभ्यास कार्याणि ज्ञातव्यानि, सर्वाणि न यावदपेक्षितं तावत्, पुनः श्लौ यानि विशिष्य अभ्यास कार्याणि तान्यपि ज्ञातव्यानि. We should know the general abhyasa karyas and those specific for shlu. हलादिशेषः इति सूत्रमस्ति. हल् आदिः शेषः इति त्रीणि पदानि अभ्यासस्य इति सर्वत्र अनुवर्तते. अभ्यासस्य आदिः हल् शेषः शिष्यते. So the first consonant of the abhyasa remains. Anye halaha lupyante. All other consonants are deleted. Okay, so listen very carefully. The first consonant of the abhyasa remains. All other consonants are deleted. So by this sutra, we delete all consonants in the abhyasa other than the first consonant. The ach is not affected. The ach will remain as it is. Among the consonants, we retain the first consonant and then delete all the others. Okay. So where does it say the ach is not deleted? So it actually doesn't say anything is deleted. it says the first consonant remains. So you have to extrapolate. You have to extrapolate it to say what happens to the remaining. So because of we have this paribhasha which says sajatiya and vijatiya. If something is not specified, we extend or we extrapolate it to sajatiya. So we are talking about hal. We are saying the first consonant remains. So the most logical extrapolation is the other consonants are deleted. Okay. So that is the व्याख्यान. Okay, so abhyasasya adihi hal shishyate anye halaha lupyante. So that is why the second part of the sutrartha, so the other consonants are deleted. Okay. So udaharanam jan iti dhatuh द्वित्वे कृते जन जन ति हलादिशेषः. So ayam abhyasah. Abhyasa is the first jan. Tatra prathamah hal nama jakarah shishyate. Anye halah nakarah lupyate. So you have ja, jan, ti. So pach a. So dvitve krute pach a. Atra prathamah hal pa pakarah saha shishyate. Anye halah chakarah lupyate. So pa pach a. If there are more consonants, say you have a dhatu like vand, okay, vand iti dhatuh, dvitve krite vand vand e, idanim prathamah hal vakarah shishyate, anye halah nakara dakarau lupyete, ataha vavande. So you don't hear the first. So even in the first part, if there is a dhatu which is starting with a sanyoga, like say dhyai, okay, dhyai iti dhatuh, so you double the dhya. Okay, so dhyai dhyai and a, and then the dh and y, there are two consonants before the ach. So the first consonant remains dhakara, yakara is deleted, so it becomes dhai dhyai a. अतः प्रथमः हल आदिः हल शिष्यते अन्ये हलः लुप्यन्ते. Yes, so Paul, you have a question?
Oh, you wanted me to talk? Well, I was thinking then this sutra becomes anartaka because
no, it does not. It's what? Because I mean, if there are two consonants before the ach, it is still required to remove that second consonant, right? I mean, even if you're not taking it till the, I mean, that was your question, right? I mean, if we do not take it till the next ach, so if there are two before the ach, so it will still be required to remove the second one.
Oh, you mean in the case of a sanyoga?
Yes. So as I said, now just say dhya. So you will double it even if you are taking the one before it. So in that case, you'd still need this sutra.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes. So haladi sheshaha abhyasasya adihi hal shishyate anye halah lupyante. Okay. So haladi sheshaha is one common abhyasa karya. The second one is hrasvaha. ह्रस्वः इति एकपदात्मकं सूत्रम् अभ्यासस्य इति अनुवर्तते अभ्यासस्य ह्रस्वः स्यात्. So any vowel in the abhyasa is shortened, so you will never hear a long vowel in the abhyasa. So even if the dhatu has a long, say khad chakhada, tad tatada, kshal chakshala, kutrapi abhyase dirghasya shravanam na bhavati, except of course there are a few nipatanas. So da ti, द्वित्वे कृते da da ti, abhyasasya hrasvaha dadati. So da ityasya hrasve d, abhyasasya hrasvaha. So haladisheshaha hrasvaha. So we remove all consonants other than the first, and for the vowel we shorten the vowel. So two common karyas for the abhyasa. Similarly, bhi-ti. So dvitve krite bhi-ti. ह्रस्वः इत्यनेन ह्रस्वे भि-भी-ति. So अभ्यासस्य ह्रस्वः भवति. तृतीयं कार्यमस्ति कुहोश्चुः. कुहोः षष्ठी द्विवचनं, चुः प्रथमा एकवचनं. अभ्यासस्य इति अनुवर्तते. अभ्यासस्य कुहोः. कु इति कवर्गः, हकारः. कवर्ग हकारयोः स्थाने चवर्गादेशः भवति. So chavarga letter replaces kavarga and also hakara. Ki iti dhatuः ti. द्वित्वे कृते ki, ki, ti. ककारस्य स्थाने चकारः. chi, ki, ti. Okay. So we hear this very everywhere. Say if you have a dhatu like khadati, the thing becomes chakhada. You hear the chavarga. So krinati, chikrina. Similarly, you have say gachati, jagama. Ga is replaced by ja. Ghoshati, jughosha. So ghakara is also replaced by the chavarga. So everywhere kavarga letters are replaced by the chavarga letter. Okay. So इदानीं ह हकारस्य चवर्गादेशः कः भवति? चतुर्थाक्षरः. Always the equivalent for hakara in any varga is the chaturthakshara, because hakara is hash, which is samvara nada ghosha, which is the hash is 3, 4, 5, and hakara is mahaprana. Therefore, wherever you go, the savarna for hakara is always the fourth letter of the varga. अतः हकारस्य स्थाने चतुर्थवर्णः झकारः आदेशः भवति. झु हु ति. सो कुहोश्चुः इत्यनेन अभ्यासे कवर्ग हकारयोः स्थाने चवर्गादेशः भवति. कवर्गस्य स्थाने क्रमशः चवर्गस्य वर्णः, हकारस्य स्थाने झकारः. The fourth common abhyasa karya is not in this series. It is not in 6.4, but in the Asiddha Kanda, the 8.4, abhyase charcha. Abhyase saptamekavachanam, char iti pratamaikavachanam, cha. झलाम इति अनुवर्तते, जश् इति अनुवर्तते. झला जश् झषि इति सूत्रात् झलाम जश् इत्येतयोः अनुवृत्तिः. अभ्यासे झलाम चरः जशः च स्युः. चर is ch ta ta ka pa shashasa. Jash is jabagadada. So the first letter or the third letter. We will not hear mahapranas in abhyasa. Say it is khad cha khad. So khakarasya sthane vastutah kuhoshchuh ityanena chhakarah adeshah. किन्तु छकारस्य स्थाने अनेन सूत्रेण चकारः. So if you have ch khad a, so chakara gets replaced by char, which is chakara. Chakhada. Similarly, jhu hu ti, jhakarasya stane jakarah, ju hu ti. So the second letter is replaced by the first, fourth letter is replaced by the third. Charaha jashascha syuhu. अतः अभ्यासे चर्चा इत्यनेन the second and fourth letters are replaced respectively by the first and third letters. So you will not hear a dirgha in a dirgha in the abhyasa. You will not hear the mahaprana-akshara, that is the second and fourth letter in the abhyasa, because of these sutras. One is hrasvaha and the other is abhyase charcha. Okay. So atra ekah prashnah. So before that I'll take this. I'll finish. So bhiti ityasti. So you have bhi hrasvah ityena hasve bhi bhakarasya sthane bakarah bhi okay. So the four abhyasa karyas, very important. Remember them always whenever there is dvitva. Haladisheshaha, hrasvaha, kuhoshchuhu, and abhyase charcha. So very common dhatu like say khad. You see application of all these. Khad a. Liti dhator anabhyasasya ityanena dvitvam bhavati. Khad a. इदानीं हलादिशेषः आदिः हल् शिष्यते अन्ये हलः लुप्यन्ते अतः खा खाद् अ ह्रस्वः ख खाद् अ कुहोश्चुः कवर्गस्य स्थाने चवर्गादेशः छ खाद् अ अभ्यासे चर्च इत्यनेन चर्त्वं च खाद. Okay. So all four karyas apply here. They need not apply everywhere. So depending on the circumstance, any of these may apply. You may not have any of these also. But so for this particular case, you can see that all four are applied. All four are very common karyas. Using these, you can derive the the dvitva doubled forms of most of the dhatus using these forms, these four sutras. Okay. So atra ekah prashnah at dhatuh at iti dvitvam tatra katham haladisheshah. So haladisheshah we take the first hal, okay, whichever, it need not be at the beginning of the abhyasa. It says the first hal of the abhyasa. So the first hal remain sorry, I'm telling the converse. It says adihi hal shishyate. So if it is at the beginning of the abhyasa, it remains. All other hals are deleted. So in at, the takara is not at the beginning of the abhyasa. So it is not, it does not remain. So it is removed by haladishesha. Okay. So abhyasasya adihi hal shishyate. A hal which is at the beginning or the first part of the abhyasa remains. All other hals are deleted. Okay.
Or is it that first hull remains and the rest of them deleted?
No.
My confusion was that.
Yeah, exactly.
Is it the first hull?
The hal which is at the beginning, adi of the abhyasa. So there is always a difference between adi and prathama. So the adi is here refers to the adi of the abhyasa. So there is nothing before it. So a hal which is the first letter of the abhyasa remains. Any other hal is deleted.
Okay, thanks.
So it is ata atatuhu atuhu. Right. So the takara is deleted and then you have the dirgha. At. So next there is one more common abhyasa karya. Urat iti sutram. Uhu iti shashti ekavachanam. At iti prathama ekavachanam. Abhyasasya iti anuvartate. Uhu iti r ityasya shashti vibhaktihi. अतः ऋवर्णस्य इत्यर्थः अभ्यासस्य ऋवर्णस्य अकारादेशः भवति. So if there is a rikara in the abhyasa, whether it is rasva or dirgha, it is replaced by akara. Okay? Abhyasa ऋवर्णस्य अकारादेशः भवति. उरन् रपरः इत्यनेन रपरः. सृ ति द्वित्वे कृते सृ ति. उरत् इत्यनेन अत्वे कृते सर् सृ ति. सर् इत्यत्र हलादिशेषः इत्यनेन प्रथमः हल् शिष्यते, रेफः लुप्यते. So you have ससृ ति. Okay. ससर्ति इति अन्ते रूपं ससृ इति भवति द्वित्वे कृते. Okay. उरत् अभ्यास ऋवर्णस्य अकारादेशः भवति. Okay. So these five are the major dvitva karyas. Haladisheshah, hrasvah, kuhoshchuh, abhyase charcha, and urat. The samanya abhyasa karyas that will be used in the juhotyadigana. Okay. So using these, we will practice dvitva for a few dhatus, assuming that there has been shap and there has been shlu. अतः जुहोत्यादिगणस्य इव सर्वे धातवः हा इति धातुः किं भवति? So can you volunteer? Yes, Ravichandran ji.
So first because shlau because dutva ha and ha, it will become ha and ha. Then there will be a hirsva. First become ha ha. And then chose kuhu.
Kuhoshchuhu.
Kuhoshu. So it will become equivalent of ha will be gha, right?
Ja.
Ja. So ja ha. Then abhyasa charcha will come.
Correct.
So yeah. So it will be ka ha.
Jaha.
Jaha.
Ja becomes ja. Jaha.
Ja.
So ha shlau ityanena dvitve ha hrasvaha ha kuhoshchuhu jha ha abhyase charcha jaha jahati. Yeah.
Jahati.
So next da.
In the previous Swamiji, in the previous slide you said sri. How did rikara becomes arguna? How did it happen? Sarvadhatak. In the previous slide you
In
said
sasarti.
Yeah, the rikarasya this thing. How did first sri become because of the sarvadhatak?
The first sri became by urat. It says rikarasya rikaraha. The second one gets by guna, sarvadhatuka.
Guna. Okay. Thanks.
Okay, next. Okay. So this is actually very easy. We already done this, so I'll give the next one for you. So da becomes dada. So da, hrasvaha ityanena hrasve, dada. Okay. So next one. Yes. Rao Mahodaya.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Dha, dvitva, dha, tasvaha, dha, and then because of what is it? Kuhostuhu.
No. Abhyase charcha. Abhyase charcha.
Dadha.
Dadha. So dha, dvitvam, shlau iti dvitvam, hrasvaha, abhyase charcha. Dadhati.
Soumya, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, I'm going back to a couple of sutras.
No problem.
Says, na graha sanyoga, in that sutra, you removed the nakara, dakara, refa, in that case, nakara, in the second part of the one. It's not in the abhyasa, because abhyasa, the dvitva remained as it is, but the nakara was removed from the second part.
No, nakara was not removed. Nakara was not removed. It was not doubled. So that was before doubling. So when we are doubling, say if I am doubling something like indhi, okay, indhi, what is to be doubled? The second ekach is to be doubled. The second ekach in this case is ndhi, nakara, dhakara, ikara. But the sutra
Can
says.
you please go back to the slide?
Yes. So undi. Okay. So when you are doubling, abhyase ajader dvitiyasya says that the second ekach, which is say ndi, is to be doubled. The nakara, dakara, ikara. This is the second ekach. This whole thing is to be doubled. But this sutra says if there is a nakara at the beginning of a sanyoga, as in this case, there is a sanyoga of nakara and dakara. So if there is a nakara at the beginning of a sanyoga, it is not doubled. So we don't double the nakara. So instead what remains is di. So di is doubled.
In that case, it would be udidindi, not undidi.
We are adding it. So first remains, you have, what does this say? If I have to write it, say for example, how do I?
I think Soumya, the question is when you double it, is the double comes first or the original comes first?
Whatever comes,
this
it does
point is
not change. Whatever comes, it does not change. Because forget nakara, you have un and then you have the. You are doubling the the, whether you put it first or last. You cannot put it before the nakara. You have un. Okay, you are doubling the the. You put the. Un,
I
the,
think
the.
I think the
Yeah, his
maybe
question was
this thing
that.
is
Yeah, his
because
question
we are
was
doubling
that.
only, right?
Hmm.
We are doubling only un.
You are not doubling un, you are doubling the. One second.
The.
Undi, you are doubling only the the. You should have doubled the undi, but you are not doubling the n. So there is un and we are doubling the the. So the becomes the. Un, the. So whether you put it before or after, you cannot put it before the nakara. Right.
Okay. So you are taking it as two parts. As un is the first part,
Yes.
the is the second part, which is doubled, and then the remains. That nakara is not doubled, so un plus the undi the.
Yes.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
So there is a question here. What was the question? What if the dhatu were to be undri? If the dhatu were undri, assuming, so it will be dri. Okay, dri. So now the first dri is the abhyasa. So in the abhyasa haladi sheshaha, if you apply, it will become di. So it will be dri. Undidrishati would be the form. If, I mean, it's a hypothetical case. Okay, but doubling will not change. You will have to double it. So it will be dri if it is this one. So after it, you can apply haladi sheshaha to the abhyasa.
So in this particular instance, it is the second part of the dhatu that is being doubled with the consonant.
Yes, because
That's
of ajader dvitiyasya. Yeah, because it says if it is ajadi, we double the second ekach.
Okay, I got it. I was thinking of undri, you don't double the whole thing. Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So now let's so how do I remove that? Okay.
You can remove the highlighting option.
That's what. Where is it?
So you just right clicked. Yeah, you right clicked it. You got it, but you just didn't. Yeah.
Okay. So going back, ha becomes jaha, da, dada, dha, dadha. So next, ki. So this is again very easy. So I'm not giving it. So ki, kuhoshchuhu ityanena chi, ki bhavati. So bhi. Himanshu, Mahodaya.
भी भी hraswah भी then abhyase church then bhi
bibhi
bhi
iti bhavati. So bhi shlau iti dvitve bhi hraswah bhi abhyase charcha bibhi. Hri. Sharma Mahodaya.
Hri
Hri.
Hri is there is a double here.
Haladi sheshaha.
Haladi sheshaha. Hri.
He, hri. We remove the repha by it. So he, hri.
Here I have a question, madam. Where see the doubled part, do we put after the first part or before the first part?
Does not make a difference now.
Now here, for example, three is there, is it not?
Correct.
Hri is there. Now in the here this is a sanyoga. Do we remove it from the abhyasa or the double part?
No, the haladishesha is an abhyasa karya. So we always remove it only from the abhyasa, which is the first part. It is an abhyasa karya only. So we always remove it only from the abhyasa.
Okay. First of all, Hri Hri, then Hihri, then Jihri, then Jihri.
Jihri. He did that before. No, he did that. He did that before haladishesha. So Hri, dvitve krite Hri Hri, haladishesha. He Hri, hrasvaha. So Hi Hri, kuhoshchuhu, Jihri, abhyase charcha, Jihri. Okay. So if you keep doing this, I mean, if you do 10 dhatus, then you will automatically start putting jakara before hakara. Okay. You don't have to think it. So hanti, jaghana, hri, jihri. So any dhatu you take with hakara, it always begins with jakara. So similarly, bhakara, it will always begin with b. Okay. So these karyas become pretty natural once you do a few. Okay. Next, Paul.
Okay, what is it? Who?
Who?
We get, okay, so we get Yasha Dve, we get Shlau, right? So we get Shlau. And we get Who. Then we have Kuhoshuhu. So that becomes Juhu. And then we have Abhyase Charcha, which makes it Juhu.
Juhoti, Juhutaha, Juhvati. So you have Hu, Shlau iti dvitve, Hu, Kuhoshchuhu iti chutve, Juhu, Abhyase charcha, Juhu. Okay. So next, others who have not tried so far. Anjana.
Sr. First you double with shlau, sr. Then urat, it becomes sar, sr. And then haladisheshaha, it becomes sasr. I have a question. Yes. Here will the order apply? After applying urat, can I not apply haladisheshaha, or can I still apply?
You can. You do urat first and then we do haladishesha.
Okay.
Yes. So sr, it becomes sr, and then haladisheshaha, sasr.
I think it's not asiddha. I think she was thinking maybe it's asiddha. We were insisting on the order.
No,
here it's not
in this
asiddha, right?
Case, it doesn't matter. I mean,
that's what I think the question was.
Yeah, I think that was the confusion in the last.
It's not asiddha.
Yeah. The hal sandhis we were very okay. So here it just we are all still in the tripadi. I mean, in the sapara saptadhyayi, except abhyase charcha. So in the abhyasa karyas, so they are all in the sapara saptadhyayi, so it doesn't matter. And is there a particular order? Not necessarily. See, the order we insist when there is vipratishedha, if it changes the form, if there is paraspara virodha. So if there is no virodha, it doesn't matter. So it doesn't make a difference. So whether you do hrasvaha first or haladisheshaha, it will still be the same. Okay. So the normal order we do is that haladishesha, rasva, kuhoshchuhu and abhyase charcha. But other cases it's fine. I mean, if you change it, it will still be the same. Okay. Yes, Sharma Mahodaya, Prashna Hastya.
Prashna asti. This is a general one. Langnakare nipaha sthane am adesha syat. तत् पित् भवति स्थानिवद् भावे स्थानिवद् भावसूत्रः पूर्णतया अस्माभिः न अवगतः अत्र अनल्विधौ इति स्थानिवदादेशो अनल्विधौ इति एकः clause is there. That analvidhi clause is very difficult to understand. What actually he means, what is analvidhi, what is alvidhi, we don't know.
No, I mean, it's okay. There is a Sthanivat Sutra, of course, is not a simple sutra. But I mean, in general, alvidhi is something if you are trying to bring in a property which depends on a single letter. Okay, so you cannot use Sthanivat Bhava. That is what it means in general. What we are trying to do here is when you are replacing mip by the
we are not doing Sneshorallopaha when is there.
Shnasorallopaha. Yes. Yes. It is pit. Is definitely pit. Yeah. So the property of pit. Property of
and we are
wait. Sorry.
Sneshorallopaha we don't do.
Correct. Is very clearly pit. There is no question on that at all. Is pit because the property of pit. See, anubandha karyeshu sthanivad bhava nishedha nasti. That is first thing. And second thing, the pitva is a property of the pratyaya mip. So there is no nothing wrong in bringing the property of mip for And for anubandha karya, there is no nishedha of sthanivad bhava nishedha. There is no sthanivad bhava nishedha for anubandha karya. All anubandha karya is for
just because replaces mip, we need not say sthanivad bhava.
It is. I'm saying there is no nishedha for sthanivad bhava for anubandhas. Anubandha karyeshu sthanivad bhava nishedha nasti. All anubandhas are generally, an anubandha is generally a single letter, so it is all alvidhi. But then you cannot bring in any anubandha karya to the others. So it's a general paribhasha which states that for anubandha karyas we don't there is no nishedha of analvidho. Okay.
First of all, we have trouble understanding what is alvidhi. And Vyakhyana says that there are Tritiya Tatpurusha, Panchami Tatpurusha, Sashti Tatpurusha, Saptami Tatpurusha for alvidhi.
Yes. So maybe one suggestion, we did this in detail in the Praudha Manorama. I'll send you a reference of that particular class where we did Praudha Manorama for the Sthanivat Sutra. Were you there for Praudha Manorama, Sharma Mahoday? I don't remember. Maybe not. So I'll send you this. If you just watch that one class, one or two classes of Sthanivat Sutra, Praudha Manorama makes it very clear. There Dikshidhar gives those four. There is Allah vidhihi, Allah parasya vidhihi, Allaha vidhihi, and Ali vidhihi. So there are four vigrahas in which al-vidhi is split. So he gives examples for all of those. So I'll mail you the reference to that class. So if you just listen to it, it will be clear.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Okay. So now continue with this. Yes. Ouch. Sorry. Drawn regmi.
भस् प्रथमं तस्य द्वित्वं भस् भस् ततः भभस् तदनन्तरं चर्पं भभस् इति
सत्यं. So भस् द्विश्लौ इति द्वित्वे भस् भस् हलादिशेषः भ भस् अभ्यासे चर्चा ब भस्. So next one is anybody wants to try? Those who have not tried so far. Sadagopan Mahodaya. न श्रूयते. वदतु.
then slow,
then
slow, then slow, alpa prana,
so dhan श्लौ इति द्वित्वे धन धन हलादिशेषः ध धन अभ्यासे चर्च द धन महादेवन
जन श्लौ द्वित्वे जन जन हलादिशेषः ज जन.
That's all. There is nothing else here because it's already hrasva and alpa prana. Jajana. So jana shlavati dvitvam haladisheshah jajana. So next Sudhakar.
धिष श्लौ कृते धिष धिष अभ्यासे चर्चा दिधिष
हलादिशेषः
हलादिशेषः शकारलोपः अभ्यासे चर्चा इत्युक्ते दिधिष.
So धिष द्वित्वे धिष धिष हलादिशेषः धि धिष अभ्यासे चर्चा दिधिष. Okay, so the last one, anybody who has not tried so far? It's very easy actually.
Continue.
No, somebody else please. Let us see if anybody else volunteers. Okay, Meenakshi.
Turu turu tutur then chatvam chatur.
No, that's all. I mean, there is no, we don't need this. There is already the takara itself is there. If there is mahaprana, we use abhyasa charcha. So tur shlau iti dvitve tur tur haladisheshaha ityanena tutur. So that is the common dhatus of the juhotyadigana. So as we saw, there are few more karyas which come in the shlau vishishya abhyasa karyani. So ataha nijam trayanam gunashlau bhrinyamit artipipartyoscha iti sutrani adhyetavyani. So we will see that in the next class. So for this class, I'll just give a exercise in dvitva. Okay, it need not be dvitva in case of shlau. So let's take the general dhatus and let's see what will be the form after dvitva. Okay, so I'll not specify the nimitta. The nimitta could be lit, it could be sun, or it could be young, whatever. So I'll just give some particle. So you have to double it. So you have to decide which particle to double and what will be the form after it. Okay. So yes, I'm sorry. So there's a question, when will the site come up? Good question. Yeah, I mean, I think all of you must have got notice saying that the site is temporarily down. We are having some problems with the server. I mean, somebody has hacked into the server. So every time we bring it back, it is again being attacked. We're trying to resolve it. So I'm sorry, I don't know actually when it will be up. But as soon as it is up, I will post the materials of both last class and this class. So
maybe in the meantime, can we put it in Dropbox or something? People can subscribe to that and they can download it.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I can share it directly from my Google Drive. Okay. I mean,
right, that is also easy.
Yes. So anyway, I have everything in my drive. So I cannot send the video and the audio, but the other materials I can. Video will anyway be on YouTube. So for the PPTs and the exercises, I will share it on Google Drive to everybody who has registered for this class. Okay. So I will do that by Monday. Okay. येनाक्षरसमाम्नायम् अधिगम्य महेश्वरात् कृत्स्नं व्याकरणं प्रोक्तं तस्मै पाणिनये नमः. वाक्यकारं वररुचिं भाष्यकारं पतञ्जलिं पाणिनिं सूत्रकारं च प्रणतोऽस्मि मुनित्रयम्। धन्यवादाः।